always teach my kids, like I have a 18-year-old and a 17-year-old. If you are out anywhere and you're like in an area where Wawas are, go to Wawa. The second best gas station to go to is going to be a Royal Farms. But if you search for a Wawa, you're more than likely going to be in an area that you can feel safe in. Okay. Y'all know I got to be careful with how I classify areas because I am a licensed realtor in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. But that's a little safety tip, because when you're single, when you're young, and just even for men, you know, we have certain parts of DC and Maryland, people get out their car to put gas in their car and they're going to get hijacked, right? You don't hear a lot going on at Wawa. Wawas are always very well lit. They have cameras everywhere, and they're always in areas that are more desirable. So you're not going to get that type of riffraff. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but what I'm saying is wherever I am, I look for a Wawa to get gas. So yeah. Oh, you get gas from Wawa. And remember from my other video, you can get free air from Wawa for those of you that are driving. But I had a thought, right? Because we're on this journey to getting monetized, and I've kind of deviated a little bit from real estate, and I promise I got some really juicy real estate videos coming up. But I had this thought process, and if you've been following my lives, you know, in order to break the YouTube algorithm, people want to see consistency. People want to get to know you. So I can't always talk about real estate. But that's okay, because I want to attract people that genuinely want to get to know me outside of my profession of a realtor. And so that's why I named my channel At Home with Vicky, right? Because we're talking about more than just real estate. But I had this thought. It's Sunday. And I was like, you know, I am so grateful to God for everything that is happening in my life. You know, when my daughter, when I was bringing her driving, we were talking, and I was just telling her, I was like, girl, God has just blessed you abundantly, right? I'm going to be 100% transparent. She was telling me, she's a computer science major. I was telling her how I realized back in 2018 that I had been suffering from imposter syndrome, right? That's where people who suffer from imposter syndrome are prone to self-sabotaging themselves. But before 2018, I didn't even know that that was a thing. You know what I mean? So if you watch my wealth mindset live, I was talking to you guys about the importance of a wealthy mindset and investing in yourself. That is precisely what I did in 2017. I signed up for coaching, and I had a beautiful mentor, a beautiful coach. It was very spiritual and metaphysical things that she was teaching us. And in the midst of that, we discovered what imposter syndrome is. And that's basically where, because you didn't come from money, or you didn't come from a peaceful, stable background, you came from a toxic life, or you came from parents that were always hustling. When you finally crack the code, which I have done so, right? And I was specifically talking about the first house that I purchased. It was a $450,000 house, 3,200 square feet, in a very, very nice, desirable, planned neighborhood. Beautiful. We had a basketball court. We had tennis court. We had a soccer field. We had walking trails in my neighborhood, multiple playgrounds for children. I had a 2-car garage, a really big, beautiful deck with a bottom deck, a soaking tub in my master bedroom. I had a master suite. Okay, my bathroom, humongous. My bathroom was basically the size of an efficiency. Okay, the house was 3,800 square feet, right? And I bought that house all by myself. I was a single mom. Okay. It was a very chaotic situation, because even though I was a realtor, I am a realtor, I represented myself. So that means that I had to handle the buying side and also the emotional side that comes with purchasing a house. And that was a lot, right? But when I was in that house, I honestly believe the reason why I sold it is because I was suffering from imposter syndrome. I was living a life so much greater than I had ever experienced, ever, right? I was a single mother raising 2 kids all by myself. I look super young, okay? I'm 42, but I look young, right? So everywhere, like the people in my neighborhood, one time I remember my neighbor knocked on my door, y'all, because I be listening to my podcast super loud, okay? And she knocked on my door basically to ask me to turn my podcast down. And y'all know that won't happen. I was paying a $3,000 mortgage, okay? So who to turn down what? It was during, the normal noise ordinance hours. So I had no reason to turn it down other than she just didn't want to hear my podcast because they had a window open. Whatever. I was living next door to a semi-Karen. So anyways, that is when she knocked on my door, she asked for my husband. And I was like, what? I was like, this is my house. I own this house. And the look on her face was like, she couldn't believe it. First of all, I was in a leopard print workout outfit. I'm a girly girl, okay? And I'm going to do the girly girl things. So I looked even more young. And then her reaction to me being a single woman that owned that house and being young was like, what? And I think that's when those feelings started to arise. Like, do I belong here? Matter of fact, when we first moved there, the children were playing outside. The listing agent hadn't taken out the for sale sign. So I guess the people didn't know that the house were sold. The other people in the neighborhood. When I bought my house, it was way back in 2019. Houses weren't flying off the market. So my house had been on the market for like 144 days. The people in that neighborhood probably thought that house was never going to sell, right? So I guess they just didn't know. And, it was probably harmless. Like, they were like, hey, where are your parents, yelling at my kids? And then my kids were like, this is our house, that situation. We were the only Black people on that corner. There were other Black families in my neighborhood, but I hadn't met them at that time. And like next door to me was a non-Black, across the street, because I had a corner lot, but the houses that were on the other side of the street from where my house was were also non-African American people. And I just was like, I started getting worried about my children's safety because you don't know who is really nice, right? You don't know who is actually cool. And people make assumptions based off of the way you look, based off of the color of your skin, the fact that they now know that I'm a single mom. You know what I mean? I was really suffering from imposter syndrome and do I belong here? Okay. And I think that was part of the reason that I just didn't try harder to keep that house, because I didn't feel like I was worthy of such a beautiful house. And I allowed those thoughts to, keep me from appreciating what God had blessed me with. God literally blessed me with the exact type of house that I had been praying for. God blessed me with the exact type of house that I had been manifesting, scripting for. You understand? I used to get up at 4 a.m. and to write in my journal the type of house that I wanted to live in, the type of number of bedrooms, what it looked like, what my neighborhood looked like, what it felt like. Y'all, God blessed me with that and then some. Okay. So I was telling my daughter about this, but also all things happen for your greater good. Because when I met my husband and we decided to sell that house and we moved in with him in his house, the area where my husband lives and where we now all live, it was far better for our family, far better for my children. They literally just became different kids being in a more diverse school system, and they have both thrived. My daughter is in college right now on a full ride scholarship. My son is probably going to be on a scholarship just the same. He's a high honor roll star athlete. Really, really good kids. And I think that they may not have had that if we would have stayed where my first house was. But I do know that I was suffering from a bit of imposter syndrome when I was in that home because it was the best house that I had ever lived in. I bought it all by myself, right? With the help of my loan officer, mortgage broker, my tax person, because, a lot of people say they're self-made, but nah. As a realtor, I know the importance of your team. And my mortgage guy, he was really good. Like, I had already spoken to 3 loan officers before him. I was determined to get that house, okay? And I had loan officers telling me all types of crazy things. And I did one of the crazy things, which is why I wish I would have had a realtor, someone else to talk to, because I didn't know that I didn't have to pay off the entire balance that I owed the IRS. But the one mortgage broker that told me to do that, because I was under contract to buy a new construction, they wanted me to do that to make the underwriters feel better. But in reality, all I had to do was what I had already been doing, was continue to make my monthly payments. But I didn't find that out until I had found a new lender, when the first mortgage broker and the new construction that I was with were playing games. They kept pushing my settlement back and pushing it back and asking for more. Listen, it was a compound effect when I was buying my house. These people could not believe that I was making the type of money that I was making, right? So they were like trying to verify every house I sold, verify every transaction. At one point, my broker even thought that I was being racially profiled during the underwriting process, because the mortgage people didn't even believe that I was making the money that I was making, y'all. That is how powerful investing in yourself and having a strong relationship with God is. I completely transformed my entire existence. I have transformed my entire bloodline because I decided to invest in myself. And even in that moment where I was suffering from the imposter syndrome momentarily, God still showed up, right? So this is how I wanted to bring it back to a Sunday message, that even if you try to self-sabotage yourself for a moment, God is still going to show up. Because guess what? My husband's house may not be as big as the house that we had, but the neighborhood is just as beautiful, just as safe. We have all the same amenities like playground, basketball court, tennis court, walking trails, everything, right? Everything minus those little dirty looks, right? Because everyone in my husband's neighborhood is a multicultural neighborhood, wealthy Black people living amongst wealthy Black people and wealthy everybody. You don't stand out, right? I don't know what it is about other races when they see Black folks that are just wealthy and living their best life, want to act like we're like, dinosaurs or something. We're just like you. We just want a good life for our kids, okay? So I don't have to worry about that. I'm just thriving and living my best life because God came in. It didn't matter if I was self-sabotaging myself and I was self-sabotaging my blessing. My Lord sent me a homeowner to be my husband. And literally, my husband, we've been together since the day we met, you know what I mean? And he's been riding with me the same way as I've been riding with him. And that was all God. You know what I mean? We were like, oh, we're going to sell this house. We're going to sell your house and then we're going to buy a bigger house. But right now we're chilling here, right? And that's how it's been. So now we're on our journey because we've already had our babies. Like I told you guys before, I was on maternity leave. We were going to buy this house, but that contract fell through. And so now we're on our journey again to buying our next house, right? So I say all this to say, y'all, is allow yourself to be comfortable where you are. I know that there's a lot of people that are going to find this video and you are somebody that is thriving and you just can't believe it. You can't believe that God is blessing little old you this way. And it may feel overwhelming. That's why I take it so personal when I see those videos of those people that are like, oh my God, owning a home is so overwhelming. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm like, y'all, you're messing up your blessing. You're messing up your blessing. Figure out what you need to do to keep that blessing. I wish I would have done that with my house, right? If I would have been more secure in that blessing, I would have just rented it out and let God figure it out, right? Because I would still own that asset. We were talking about assets on one of my last videos, and that house that I sold in 2021, I bought it for $450. I sold it for $550. The house is worth $630,000 today, y'all. $630,000. I would be $280,000 equity rich right now. So, like I said, the ever ongoing argument, owning versus renting, it is always wise to own, right? I'm not going to say I don't feel no type of way about it, because duh, like I wish I still had that asset. But I know one thing for sure, this next house that God blesses us with, me and my husband, we already said it, we're keeping it. We're going to keep his house. We're not going to sell it and then buy another one. We're going to work extra hard to be able to keep the house that we're already in and buy another house and make the house that we're in a rental property. People have done it every day, day in and day out. All right. Also want to share this with you guys. If you come across those low vibrational videos, it is asinine for people to be telling other people of color that home ownership is too difficult when Black people have the lowest home ownership rate in the country. Black folks owned more homes in 1965, okay, look it up, than we do today. Do you understand how crazy it is for people to be out here talking about I bought a house, but I think I'm going to sell it to go back to being a renter? Guys, stop self-sabotaging. Get out of your limited beliefs, okay? Raise up higher from those limited beliefs. Honor the blessing that God has given you. If God has made you a homeowner, then God will show you how to keep your house. I made another video. In today's market, nobody should be losing their house. Nobody's house should be going up in foreclosure, because if at the end of the day you have to sell it and you truly cannot handle that property anymore, sell the property. Take the equity and buy something smaller, something that you feel more comfortable in, okay? Because you could be like me. You could have been a little fish in a really big pond, right? Me and my kids really didn't need 3,800 square feet, baby, but I'm going to get another one because I love living like that. And in the moment, I thought I was just being too gaudy. But no, that's who God made me. Fabulous girl. I'm a fabulous girl, period. So yeah, I think that's where I'm going to leave this little chat here in the car. And I have another one coming for you guys later today. I might go live. But yeah, I just want to share this thought. This is just a thought. Don't trick yourself out the bag. Don't sabotage yourself, because God is... Girl, listen, come here. Come here. God ain't done blessing you. God ain't done blessing us. 2025 finna be our year. And if you haven't already, sis or bruh, like, subscribe, follow. Bye.